trading. So the market this morning opened at a place where it is looking like it is losing momentum. And you can see, zooming in, if I can do that, zooming in on the 4-hour chart, down here. Okay, so we had this huge big leg upwards, and then it kind of slowed down its ascent, and it's actually hit a resistance level of this orange support here. So my prediction at the beginning of the day was that we were going to see a drop. However, it was a little bit premature because, as you can see on the 15-minute chart and this chart, the blue SMA, the gold SMA, everything is going up. It's trending up still. I hadn't traded for a few days because I ran out of high-speed data, which is one of the frustrations of trading sometimes. But I was a little out of practice, and I was a little bit excited to get started, and perhaps did not see things very clearly and make sound judgments. All right, so I actually made a prediction, which I'm going to read up here. I said, I expect a short drop from here, maybe down to the gold SMA, which actually, if you look at it closely, is the conjunction of the blue SMA as well. And that would be down at 4309-ish, which is, as you can see here, almost 100 points down below where it sits right now. That's a huge drop. So it might take a few days to do that. Anyway, that's what I had said. Okay, so I was watching it here and watching it here, and I zoomed in, and actually what I did here was I put in a block to kind of mark where I thought the gold might be down here. And then I zoomed in here to the 5-minute chart and the 15-minute chart, so I can kind of see what's going on. And I can see a big red candle on the 15-minute chart that's formed. We seem to be at, we've hit that resistance level of the orange line, and it was starting to drop. So I went ahead and got in a short here. And the MACD looks good. The RSI is decent. It looked like a pretty good trade right there. And it started to drop. It came down to this point right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, so it came down to this gold SMA, which on the very short-term chart, of course, is a decent support level. And remember, I was predicting that it was going to drop, but if you look at all the charts, the trend is going up at the moment. So I really did not take in that information properly at this point. Okay, so then it looked like it was going to bounce. I'm at break even. I put in a stop and a limit order where I thought it would drop to, and where if it went above that, I didn't want to be in. And that would have been 150, a little bit more than $150. Okay, and then it started to go up, which didn't totally surprise me, to be right honest. And then it hit the point again up here and started to drop. It's like, okay, this is good. Red candle over here. Haven't really broken through that resistance level up here. MACD is starting to turn a little bit. Okay, and I had to actually leave the room. And when I came back, it had hit the stop and gotten out and went up even further. So now I'm sitting at a $200 loss. It actually blew past that stop that I had set by a little bit. So my first trade is actually a loss for the day, which was disappointing, but not terribly surprising once I started to really analyze the information better. I hadn't canceled this order yet. Okay. So then I watched it for a little bit longer, was trying to think through what was going to happen. I put in an alert here, kind of where I thought it might be a support, another alert down here where it's a better support. It looks like it's at the peak here, and it's had a big red candle. So I decided to do another short, which I don't think was a bad trade here, even though it's uptrending. So I'm in a short now at 411, and the MACD is looking good. The RSI is really good. And then I put in an exit order here at a fairly conservative place, according to the support that I see here. And this will be the down leg of an uptrend. Break even at the moment. MACD just turned, or it just crossed, like a death cross, which is good because I'm in a short. And dropped down, and it started to hesitate right at that orange. That's another support level there. That it's not a real good place. I mean, you have to go back quite a ways to find why I set that orange line where I set it, because actually this flew above it in a couple places, and then of course right here too. So it hesitated right there, and it seemed to be stuck. So I went ahead and switched positions when it formed this big green candle, and now I'm in a long, because now I've kind of wrapped my head around the idea that yes, it's still an uptrend, even though I don't think it's going to last real long. So I did a reverse position here and got into a long, and that was a very good call, because then it had two great big candles. And it is not even opening bell yet, it's only 9:13. Okay, so my total so far is pretty much break even. I made back all the losses that I did on that first trade. And it started to peak out. So I got out right there, and I'm not in a position at this moment. Okay, it's starting to turn over. So again, I wanted to ride it down on the down leg of this uptrend. So I got in another short at a pretty decent place and rode it down to where it kind of started to hesitate, and put in a limit order. That is not that much of a profit here, but it's not bad either. So I went ahead and put the limit order to get out, and it dropped even further. And I decided to ride it up because I saw that it was down to this support level here and possibly going to turn up. So I got into a long position right here. The MACD is a little premature, but as uptrending as it was, I was thinking it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. And it dropped a little bit further. So now I'm looking over here, and it kind of broke through this support level and very possibly could drop even further. But I'm in a long, which is not a good place to be. However, it is an uptrend, so I hung on, and it dropped some more, and it dropped all the way down to that blue line, and I'm still hanging on to my position. I'm only at a $50 loss, not a huge big deal. Looks like the MACD is turning up a little, and I'm almost down to that alert. As you can see right here, that's a pretty good support level right there. It's not that much farther down there. I'm willing to hang on until it turns at this point and ride out my losses. Okay, so it went down to that blue line and starting to show like it's going to bounce off of that. The MACD looks really, really good. I'm still hanging on to this long position at only a $75 loss when all is said and done. I mean, the trade itself has lost $250, which is a shame, but it's not a huge big deal in the long run. Okay, and the other thing that kind of concerns me here is the 15-minute chart. The MACD is crossed, a death cross here, and it's just beginning a downward cycle here. It's just starting to gain momentum, and already it's dropped quite a bit. So it's very possible at this point, I'm thinking that it could blow past to this support level, and I want to know when it does that. So I put in an alert right here, but I'm hanging on to that MACD. That's my hope. Well, it went ahead and blew past that as well, tripped my alert, and now we are looking at a possible downward stroke even further. And I'm still hanging on to that long position. Now I'm at $150 loss altogether. This particular trade is lost to $325. And I'm questioning whether I should have hung on this far. Should I get out? Should I hang on? The uptrend is the only reason that I decided to hang on, because I feel like I could at least get back most of my losses at this point by hanging on. All right, and let's see, where are we? Okay, so it's past opening bell at this point. So it has blown past this support and that support, and it's just like a straight line down here. Now I'm at a $287 loss altogether. This trade has lost $460. And the MACD still looks like it could turn at any time, so I'm still hanging on for whatever reason. Okay, so now I'm finally starting to see signs that it's done with its little downward jog there. And I've got a bunch of green candles here. It's at a decent support. Here you can see that the wick has gone below it, but yet the body of the candle is sitting almost at that support level. So that's all good signs. The MACD is decent. The RSI is pretty low. And I'm only at a $225 loss, which isn't great, but it's doable. I can make that back fairly easily. It's not too big of a deal. So I'm hoping that it will rise, and then I'll probably get back into a short again. That's what I'm thinking. But I want to get back as much of my loss as possible. And I'm hoping it will rise up into this level here. Okay, so it's trickling up. Actually got up to that support level. You can see right here, the MACD is starting to flatten out, and maybe it'll start to lose momentum a little bit. I'm now at $150 loss altogether, so I've gotten back a fair amount of my losses. And it did bounce and start to go down again. And I had not gotten out. I kind of missed that opportunity because it was moving a little bit fast. And it does seem to be hesitating a wee bit, so I'm still hanging on there. Okay, and I finally decided, yeah, no, I'm going to do a long at this point. Wait, I missed something. Okay. So what did I do here? Okay, so actually at this point, I'm in a long position. Yeah, I've been in the long position the whole time. And at this point, I must have switched because I'm now sitting here in a short position. What did I do? Okay. Not quite sure all that happened right there, but I'm in a short position thinking it will drop again, and everything looks good for that to happen. We've broken through all the support levels over here. The MACD is turned down. The RSI is kind of low, but on the other hand, each peak has been losing momentum, so I'm not too worried about that. So I do think a short is a good place to be here. Okay, so I'm in a short at this level right here, and we're waiting for it to drop. So far, so good. Very good. And then I went back through and I drew a teal colored line for a decent support level over here from earlier. Let's see, from earlier this morning. So it wasn't like a lot of history there. And it also matches up with, you know, pretty close to the support level here on the 15-minute chart, the blue SMA. So I'm thinking that this limit order here is in a pretty decent spot. The MACD is starting to concern me a little bit because it's already bounced off that one time. I don't know how far it's going to go down, but I'm hanging on here. All right, I raised it up a little bit because I'm starting to see it gaining some momentum going up. The MACD looks like it's crossed going up. And I want to actually be in a long again. So I put in an order for 2 at this point so I can actually reverse positions. Hasn't taken quite yet at this point. This is a profitable position right here, so that's all good. Okay, I switched positions I actually didn't catch that. Well, here I got in. You can see where I switched positions. So from here, I got in along and it started to go up. And that was exactly the right thing to do right there. Starting to see the descent slow. You can see some hesitation at this point right here. You can see a white candle here, which means that it's exactly where it started. There's no drop and no gain. It has hit a support level, and so I do think we see some upward momentum possibly going on here, and I am exactly at break even. I've gotten back all my losses for the day so far, sitting at 0. So that's good. Right, I'm in a long position and it's looking really good. Broke past the level here, the resistance level. The MACD is starting to slow down just a little bit. I'm at a good profit here. But I'm also thinking that we've just begun this upward ascent, excuse me. And so I want to hang on a little bit longer. Okay, so here I'm hanging on. You can see all of this profit that I've made is at a risk right now, but I don't think it's too big of a risk. I can see it dropping down to this SMA right here, bouncing off and going up even further. So I'm hanging on, and exactly did that thing. Bounced off that point right there, and even though the MACD on the very short-term chart looks like it's probably not in a good place here, I decided to hang on because of what I saw here, and also I see a pretty good bounce right here as well as a green candle down here. So all things considered, I decided to hang on a little bit further, and that was the right thing to do here. Started to go up. I set my limit at a place where I thought it probably would go, and you can see the reason I set that there was because that was where the gold SMA was over here. And I also put a stop in place to lock in some of my profit, because now I'm at $125 to the good for the day. And I got stopped out. So, you know, that's not too bad. It actually caught a little bit below that, so now I've only got $100 profit. But at least it's in the green. I've done 7 trades this morning, so it's been a little bit frustrating. I feel like I'm a little out of practice, just having not looked at it for a few days. And it was kind of a tricky morning too, because like I said, it was an uptrend, but I felt like there was a down part coming. I just wasn't sure exactly when or how far it would go. So I haven't canceled this order yet, but I'm not in a position right now and trying to figure out what's next. Okay, so it dropped down after that point, and I'm watching still, trying to decide, do I think it's going to drop further at this point, or is it going to go up? And I'm kind of inclined to think that it's going to drop further. But this is not a good place to get in necessarily, because the MACD here is looking like it's starting to come up a little bit. So we're waiting for an opportunity to get in. Okay, it dropped a little bit further. It kind of platformed out right here, dropped a little bit, platformed out. And I'm thinking, okay, I think it might be going up for a little bit until the next jog down. The MACD looks good, so I got in a long order here. Okay, I'm in a long position. The MACD is just turning here and looking somewhat promising. Okay, and it went a little bit further down. So now I've lost, and I'm in the red again. A little bit frustrating. The RSI is pretty low here. The MACD dropped a bit further, so that's kind of disappointing. And I'm concerned now that I made the wrong decision and that it could drop further, so I put in a stop order. Because I really don't want to go through a big loss right now. So I just want to protect myself, and it did trigger. So now I'm back at $100 loss again. 8 trades. Just can't seem to gain any ground this morning. But I haven't quit yet either. Just trying to wait for a good opportunity and trying to keep my head on straight. Looks like it's broken through support here. It's a big red candle there. we are starting to see the blue line tip over here. So this uptrend is now turning into a little bit of a downtrend, just the beginnings of a downtrend. All right, so it fell further, and now I've decided, because it has fallen so far and the MACD is really starting to tip up here, the RSI possibly gaining some momentum, I decided to go in a long position and ride it up for the next leg up of this changing trend here. Okay. It looks like somehow I changed my mind, because here, I don't think it took. I think that's what happened. I think somehow it didn't take there. No, it did take, excuse me. I just didn't get my screenshot saved. Okay, so I did get in a long position at 4390.5 and rode it up a couple points. So I actually made some profit there. And then I reversed positions again, and now I'm in a short. You can see I put in a reverse order here, which took. Okay, so now I'm thinking that it's going to go down a bit. So I made a little bit of profit on this little leg up, and now I'm in a short. And again, it's very interesting to me that this teal line is exactly where it kind of bounced off of. MACD is really, really low. However, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It just means that it's low and it's dropping. So in a way, it actually is more favorable if you can be below the average line here for if you're in a short. So anyway, and again, I'm at a $12.50 loss. So it's like really haven't made anything, really haven't lost a whole lot. Just can't seem to get my head above water here. All right, so I've held this position. It's gone up and down a little bit. I'm in a very slight positive territory with this trade. I'm hoping it will drop further. And still kind of there, sitting right there. The MACD looks like it's tipping up a bit. If you can kind of see, the MACD went up quite a bit, which means it's gaining some possible downward momentum when it does that. It goes up so that it can drop. But when the price action goes level like that, that's really encouraging, because you don't want it to go, like the price action to go up, you just want the MACD to come up. So that's actually a very encouraging sign. And actually I'm in a profitable trade at the moment, so all of that is good. Okay, so now we are looking at this purple line here, which is the bottom of that channel that you could see on the first screen. And that seems to be where it's hesitating. That's this line right here. And it doesn't seem to want to go below that. However, I do think it probably will. In fact, you can see this is a little bit lower even than these 3 points here, and it's kind of broken through that a little bit. Remember, this purple line here is not accurate to the placement, because the amount of data that I have on this chart is not enough to put it in the proper space. So you can see it more accurately where it sits over here and over here. And you can see that those 3 points are just those 3 single candles right here. That's what you see here. So that purple line is actually closer to that. And it is just now dropped below just a little bit. And I'm sitting at a really good profit here of 175. I put my limit order in way down here because I do think it's going to drop. But the more conservative thing to do would have been to get out right here. And that is exactly what I ended up deciding to do. It went up and then down and then up and then down. And I decided, you know, I'm just not going to wait it out any longer. I'm going to just get out. So I went ahead and placed an order up here. I hadn't canceled that yet. And it dropped quite a bit further actually. And before it took. And I ended up at a $275 profit for the day. I've done 10 trades so far. And it is 10:34. I've been trading for almost 2 hours now. I'm getting tired and I need to get busy with other stuff. And so I am just going to be done for the day. So, that's a decent profit. At least it is a profit. I'm pretty happy with that. So anyhow, that's the day's trading. Thank you.